Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins in the desolate Gobi beach. The crook sticks out his tongue and licks a girl's face. The girl kept begging for mercy, please, I don't want to hurt you. He heard that the girl was still arrogant. The action is more arrogant at this point. The girl's eyes instantly filled with murderous anger. She quickly killed the annoying guy, turned around in the sink, and calmly washed her hands and left the scene. The girl's name is Emma. She is an art teacher. She grew up in this big neighborhood. It was a school holiday. She had to cross the next beach to go home. Before she left, she called her father. Her father advised her to be safe. But she didn't think it was dangerous. As a result, deep in the Gobi desert, her car was smoking and her cell phone had no signal. There was no one around, so she couldn't call for help. A very worse scenarios, she had run out of water. Just when she was worried, a gunshot came from the distance. She thought someone was hunting and took her water bottle over the railing to borrow some water. Unexpectedly, she looked at the scene in front of her and instantly broke out in a cold sweat. 6 drug dealers surrounded a police officer with guns. The cop was on his knees begging for mercy. It turns out that before she entered the next beach, Bozeman, the leader of the drug dealers, was carrying a shipment with 6 of his men. They happened to encounter the police check. Since the driver was a novice, he was trembling in fear. This aroused the police's suspicion. The police wanted to check them carefully. In desperation, Bozeman kidnapped the police and made the cowardly driver shoot and kill the other side. The driver was terrified. He missed his shot. That's when Emma heard the gunshot. At that moment, the driver shot the cop. Emma was so shocked that her water bottle fell to the ground and broke. The sound alerted Bozeman. She realized that something was wrong and ran away. 2 strong men came after her with daggers and tried to kill her, but the criminals saw that she was pretty, so they put her on their shoulders and brought her to Bozeman, however, was not interested in women. He raises his hand to kill her. His man Wayne had a new idea. He leans her against a steel post, rips off her coat and tries to assault her. The others stand behind him and watch. The cop on the ground wakes up. He drives off in his car in a mad dash. Bozeman instantly panicked. If they let the cop get away, they'd all be dead. Bozeman immediately ordered 5 of his men to chase after him frantically. A group of them chased him for a kilometer. Bozeman climbed up the hill with a sniper rifle. He opened the scope and aimed at the direction the cops were running. The cops were instantly killed. At the same time, Emma gets the backpack with the keys. She opens the handcuffs, picks up the dagger and runs into the Gobi. She bypasses Bozeman and the others and makes it back to the car, opens the trunk, picks up her camping gear, goes over the barbed wire fence and deep into the next beach. By the time Bozeman and the others realized she was gone, she had already run a kilometer away. Bozeman took his hands down to her car, determining her direction of escape by the footprints on the ground. In order to prevent other people from finding the trail, Bozeman ordered his men to wipe the footprints off the ground. The 6 men climbed over the barbed wire fence and started to follow the tracks to kill Emma. At that moment, Emma hid in a cave and opened her camping backpack. She takes out her water bottle, water disinfectant and binoculars, throwing away the rest of her belongings. She started running again. Because she was the only one who knew how dangerous the American Gobi was. It's deserted, but it's a haven for criminals. Every year, ordinary people die here. And once buried, there is basically no possibility of being found, and Emma is being chased by 6 criminals. She had to get away from the criminals as soon as possible. Because Bozeman has a sniper rifle in his hand. If she gets too close, she'll be killed on sight. In addition to closing the distance, she had to confuse the criminals behind her. She came to a hill, deliberately stepped on the grass and walked 200 meters west. Then she tramples back to the same place. She changes direction and makes another trail. She turns around again and chooses another path. She started to run away without looking back. 10 minutes later, Bozeman followed the trail she had left behind. Soon after, she reached the hill, but this time Bozeman was frozen. 3 traces pointing in different directions. In desperation, Bozeman and his men had to split up to find them. In teams of 2, they followed the traces in different directions. They follow the trail and find Emma's trail on the hillside. The partner wants to inform Bozeman and the others. Wayne starts to stop his partner and tells him to stay where he is. He sneaks up on Emma and tries to catch her himself. It's not easy to meet a beautiful woman. He can't miss this opportunity. And Emma is at the pool, unaware of the danger approaching her. She fills her water bottle with disinfectant powder and shakes it wildly. Because her father had taught her before, never drink unpurified water in the wild, otherwise she would be incapacitated by bacteria. While she was drinking, Wayne appeared. He aimed his pistol at her and ordered her to hand over the canteen. She instantly cried in fear and threw the canteen to the ground. After drinking the water, Wayne pounces on her and starts to take advantage of her. He runs his tongue over her face. Emma says she doesn't want to hurt Wayne, but Wayne laughed at her. She was too weak to fight him. She pulled out her dagger and killed Wayne instantly. Wayne could not understand why she was so cruel until his death. After killing Wayne, she picked up the pistol and the walkie-talkie and washed her hands in the sink. She started to run away again. At that moment, a man spotted her car. He sensed she was in danger. Immediately, he called her father George. George arrived at the scene. He only took one look at the erased marks on the ground. He was sure she was being chased. But George didn't panic. He even stopped the man from calling the police. It turns out that George was a scout king in his youth. When Emma was a child, George taught her the skills of a scout. Although she was a skilled fighter, she was a lover of peace. She simply didn't want to use violence to solve problems through this crisis. George believed that she would awaken perfectly and become a real god of killing. Meanwhile, Wayne's companion, Johnny, finds out that Wayne has been killed. He immediately informed Bozeman that Wayne was dead. Bozeman is shocked and then starts to rendezvous with his men. Johnny, on the other hand, thinks he's smart. He goes alone and tries to hunt Emma alone. At that moment, Emma comes to a small hill. She deliberately makes footprints in the sand, jumps out of the sand pit, and climbs up the hill. She takes out her walkie-talkie and taunts Bozeman and the others. Bozeman is furious. He orders Johnny to move in and grab her. She knows Bozeman has been fooled. Emma ambles up the hill and prepares to sneak up on Johnny. Sure enough, Johnny followed the trail she left behind. Johnny came to the bottom of a small hill. A rock fell from the sky and hit Johnny's head. Johnny was instantly hit. Emma climbed down the hill to take Johnny's gun. But Johnny was still alive. He grabbed her leg and they fought. In the nick of time, she picks up the gun from the ground and kills Johnny. She takes out her walkie-talkie again and taunts Bozeman. She nearly kills Bozeman. Because Bozeman just saw the body of another henchman and the three losers around him drinking unpurified water and getting diarrhea. Soon they were going to lose the fight. But Bozeman ruthlessly ordered the three men to follow the team or else they would be killed. So the three men followed Bozeman in a wild chase. Meanwhile, Emma was standing on a rock, looking around with binoculars. She happens to see Bozeman and the others. Bozeman immediately set up his sniper rifle and aimed at her. She quickly jumped off the rock. A bullet hits the rock instantly. To avoid the sniper rifle, she had to hide in the abandoned village. And Bozeman is smart. He takes the high ground and keeps attacking her. She was overwhelmed by the firepower and couldn't hold her head up. Bozeman's three men slowly approach the abandoned village. But the three men are getting worse and worse. The driver, who was weak, was lying on the ground, unable to move. Bozeman aims his sniper rifle at the driver. He ordered him to jump on Emma and kill her. If not, he will shoot her. The driver can only cover his stomach and starts searching Emma. Emma is in the room, a large guillotine made into a trap and ambushed in the dark waiting for the man to enter the room. He didn't take 2 steps and was killed when he touched the trap. Emma jumped off the roof and took the man's gun and disappeared again. At this time, the driver's men slowly approached the room. He was too weak and had no strength. His hands were trembling with the gun. As soon as he entered the room, Emma attacked and shot his gun away. She took out a dagger and put it against his neck. If he moved, he would be killed on the spot. He kept begging that he wouldn't betray Emma and asked her to let him live. Emma was kind after all. She took away his gun and let him go, but as soon as he walked out the door, he ran away and shouted that he had betrayed Emma's location. Emma was so angry that she killed him, but Emma's location was already exposed. She can only take the initiative to hunt Ed. With her gun in hand, she adjusts her breathing and quickly searches every room. Ed knocked her off her feet when she wasn't looking. She tries to fight back with the gun, but Ed beats her up. He dropped his pistol and began to fight her. They had been fighting for a long time and were at the end of their strength. At the critical moment, Emma grabbed the iron and hit her opponent. Then she took the opportunity to kill Ed. At this point, Emma had lost all her strength and was completely defeated. She tried to leave with the gun, but Bozeman was aiming at her with a sniper rifle. But Bozeman also put down his sniper rifle. He wanted to fight in a cowboy way. And that duel depends on how fast they can draw their guns. They both have a murderous look in their eyes, and they draw their guns quickly. The gun goes off. Emma quickly fell to the ground. The bullet hit her in the shoulder, and Bozeman stood there like a fool and was killed. At that moment, Emma's father returns home and sits at the door. He was waiting for her to come home with a sniper rifle in his hand. At this point, George was apprehensive. He knew his daughter was kind. If she doesn't become vicious. He knew his daughter was a good person, and if she didn't become fierce, she would be killed by criminals and dumped in the next beach. While George was worried, Emma came home with a lot of injuries. She hugged George and cried with grief. By now, Emma, a kind woman, had become a real killer. If anyone dares to mess with her, they will be killed on the spot. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Update. Like, share and turn on notification to help the channel.